So this video is for someone who is building a business or thinking about building a business, and you notice that marketing is quite important part of it. Doesn't matter how good product you have, doesn't matter how good you are in that sense, if you don't have people seeing what you do. So basically marketing is just to get people to see your stuff. And if that's the case, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you've been running a business for a long time. This might be the most valuable video that comes to marketing, because I'm gonna talk about something that is completely new to most business owners, and we're not gonna go through the usual stuff, which is running ads or make content and that kind of stuff. I'm gonna give you actual sauce, and I'm gonna give you an actual method that most of these guys who are blowing up on social media are actually using, that you might not have heard about it yet, and brands are using behind the scenes. Okay, so what this thing is called is clipping. What these businesses do is that they have these clipping armies, which is a bunch of people posting clips, meaning short form content to promote any kind of business pretty much. And it doesn't matter if you're a coach, influencer, physical brand, online business. It is something that pretty much any type of business can utilize and take advantage of. So let's just get straight into it. If you're a smaller business with smaller budget, I have this cool community called Clipping Academy, where I teach and show you how you can run this clipping thing for yourself with a smaller budget. And if you have a bigger business, bigger budget, I have my own clipping agency, and just contact me and we will get this whole thing running for you and take off the whole thing. Okay, so let me break it down how this would actually work with an agency. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's have a clothing brand, for example. A clothing brand is not something that you would typically think about when you think about clipping. Usually people think about either influencers or streamers and that kind of stuff, but this could easily be run with clothing brand. So first of all, we talk to clothing brand and we try to kind of figure out what is their goal. What do they want to achieve the most? What do they want to focus on their marketing with? Okay, so if their goal is to just drive people to buy certain pieces of clothes, for example, let's get people to buy these certain shorts. So we will figure out what this clothing brand is struggling with and what their goal is, and if they're struggling with selling these certain shorts, we will just focus on that. Okay, and then obviously we will need some type of content. It doesn't even need to be long form content, long videos, but it can be also short form content. So we just need some type of content that we can clip. So usually clothing brands, if they have done any marketing, they should have some content already. They should have their own content on their own social media, ads and that kind of stuff. Maybe even some influencer collaborations or anything. So basically, we will talk to the business what type of content they have in this situation already, and we will just put together a batch of things. It's usually pretty easy to find for any type of business some type of content, and we will take all that content from there, and the agency's job is to figure out what is its strategy and how can we use this to sell as many shorts as possible. So we will come up with a strategy. We would gather all the content as possible. In some cases, we would help with creating the content or finding the content. So we will come up with a strategy, and let's say for now that we would just try to drive people onto their website and to buy these shorts. So we would have content around the shorts, about the shorts, people wearing the shorts and that kind of stuff. And we will make the clippers post content on dedicated pages usually. Can also use theme pages if that makes sense, but for this scenario we're going to use dedicated pages, which means that the clippers are going to create completely new pages just for this. So for example, if Adidas would do this, it could be Adidas fan page or something like that. Maybe something with better name, let's just go with that. And the strategy could be that obviously we create entertaining content, entertaining hooks and so on, with the best editors, with the best clippers, and we would have the brand's logo on every one of the clips. So the logo could be in the corner throughout the whole clip, or we can have the logo in the end and name of the brand, or maybe even adidas.com or something in the end. So we will drive people onto the website as much as possible. We could even make the CTA even more clear. We could put it on our description put it on the comments, put it in the bio of the pages, because the brands kind of like own these pages in a way, because they're dedicated pages. So it's really easy to target and CTA. And the obvious thing is that businesses are willing to spend money if they see that money is coming back. Okay, so the thing is that we know that clipping works and it brings good results based on all the data there is. But the thing is that for now it has been quite difficult to track all these pages and how well they convert into paying customers buying the shorts. But anytime now it is gonna get way easier to track these conversions. So that is totally gonna change the game when all the businesses are going to see how well everything converts. And with the data that there is, they usually convert super well. Like all the campaigns are usually really profitable. So we have the content, we have the strategy, and now the agency's job is to come up with guidelines and make it as clear for the clippers that what they should do is like include the logo. It has to be about the shorts and that kind of stuff, but you still want to give them somewhat free hands, because that's when the best performing content comes from, and the clippers can actually do their job, which is to make as viral and as converting content as possible, right? So once this clothing business and this clipping agency make a contract and they talk through like the guidelines, see that everything is okay, after that the clothing brand is going to deposit the budget for the clipping campaign, and this budget is gonna get distributed to the clippers according to how many views they get. So the clippers who make the best content and perform the best are obviously gonna get paid the most, and they get paid after they have created the content and submitted it to the clipping agency. And it is clipping agency's job is to do quality control and see that everything is according to the guidelines. And it's also clipping agency's job to adjust the strategy and just help and manage the clippers all the time to do as well and get as good results as possible. So yeah, once the campaign is running out of budget, it is the clipping agency's job to talk with the clothing brand and talk about the results. Are they satisfied with the results or are they not? And if everything is fine, it obviously makes sense that they will just top up, refill the campaign, or create a new campaign and just like keep going. This is not something that you just do for momentarily, usually with most businesses. This is something that it is a machine that is kind of like working in the background, right? It's kind of like ads, meta ads, you know? Whenever you run ads, it's like a long-term asset that you want to use long-term. You don't just want to like run ads just super fast and not use them after that at all, because ads whole purpose is to collect data through the whole time that it's running and just optimize. So this is kind of like similar in the sense that you just want to keep it running in the background, because this is way like cheaper if you compare it to ads, and this is just way better because this is organic content. You're getting organic awareness, which if you ask me is like the best type of marketing you can have, because people are more open and more positive towards like organic content. They're more open instead of like if they see ads. People just have ads fatigue and no one wants to see ads really. And this is not something that you want to think about, like having a couple cool clips on your business's page, but this is something that you really want to think about. It's pretty similar to if you're like doing consistently, have someone to do your own organic content and you have someone running the meta ads, like let's say you have like split those 50-50, you should definitely take some amount of that and put it into clipping. Honestly, like with some businesses, it even makes more sense to put most of the marketing budget into clipping rather than meta ads, because it just makes more sense, right? Like for ads, for example. So yeah, for most businesses, it will be a bit silly to miss on this opportunity. And if you're thinking that I'm just gonna wait it out and see that more businesses are gonna start doing it, no, like everyone knows that you need to be fast, making the fast move, the good moves, and you want to be early on things when they happen, right? Because the thing is that with clipping, just like with everything else, you are gonna get the most out of it. You're gonna have the most leverage the earlier you start doing it, because in the grand scheme of things, this is just like a beginning of everything for clipping. It's gonna become, like a standard for all businesses pretty much in the future. And you wanna be one of those businesses that does it at the best time, when you could get like the most out of it for the best price, and also like the competitive edge when other businesses are not doing it. And if I'm being honest, the only people running businesses who didn't want to do this did it just for the reason that they are just a bit slow. They just didn't understand it that well, which is fine. I mean, it might sound a bit complicated at first, but just that's why I'm a community. That's why I'm an agency. Just feel free to talk to me if you're interested in it. Like, this is what I made these videos for. To educate. But yeah, just honestly, you would have to be a bit dense to not see the opportunity and the value that you get from this. Of course, it's different with some big corporations when there's like lots of jurisdiction and there's lots of people waving their hands, and that's a bit more complicated. But I'm not talking about like those kind of businesses. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you're looking to market your business, this is the way. This is the most profitable thing. If you look at most videos, they just talk about making content and running ads. You want to do something that most other businesses are not doing, that will put you ahead of them, and this is it. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.